If you haven't already, check out my last video. Now let's get into today's video. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, Plant Living J. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you all are doing well. In today's video, I have a new plant light that was sent to me to review and unbox with you guys, so please keep watching. Pretty like great chasing, I've become complacent. Look to the operations, my God, it feels amazing. I was sent a new grow light to review and test out on some of my plants. The company's name is Metry Grow. I was sent this product to review for my honest opinion. I was not paid to say anything. This review is going to be based on my own opinion, my own experience, and what I think about this grow light. So let's go ahead and unbox it and let's get into the features of this new grow light. I was actually in the market for a new grow light, and it's interesting. I did receive an email from a company that wanted to send me their grow light to test and unbox with you guys here on my channel. So let's go ahead and see what's in the box and check out this new grow light. This box is so heavy. I'm a little intimidated to see how big this grow light is. But like I said, I'm very interested because I was in the market for a new grow light. So let's go ahead and see if this is gonna look good in my area and see what some of the claims are of this light. I did read a little bit about this light. This light is heavy, hold on. So this is what it looks like when you open up the box. This is the packaging of the new grow light from Metry Grow. It does have some very good claims on this light, so let's see. You can control this grow light from the app that they have. It does come with an extendable stand to put the light on. It also has remote operation, which you can do from the app that you can install on your phone. And it also has 8 levels of brightness. This is what it looks like when you open up the box. It's packaged very well. It's protected really good with this styrofoam in here. Here is the light panel. This is an LED light panel. I'm gonna set that to the side. And here's what it looks like when you open up the box. You have the AC adapter, the cord to the adapter, and you also have a control panel that you can use on the light if you don't want to install the app. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove all of the items that I just showed you out of the box. Here are the pieces of the stand that you can put together if you want to go ahead and install it on the stand. You can also install this light hanging from a ceiling or a wire shelf as well. And here's the top attachment if you want to go ahead and install the light on the stand. And last, here is the packaging that the base for the light stand comes in. Let me go ahead and open it. This is what's causing the package to be so heavy, which is good. I'm glad the weight of the package is from this base, because because I was going to be a little disappointed if the grow light itself was that heavy, but this is very hefty and it has a very, very low profile. I don't know if you can see how thin it is. So if you want to go ahead and install the light on the shelf, at least you'll be able to slide the base underneath any nearby furniture if you like, if you don't plan on installing it on a shelf. But I think this is really dope. It's very sleek and it has a very clean look. And on the bottom, this is very important for me, it has this felt material. So if you have hard floors, that it's not going to scratch and damage up your floors. I'm going to go ahead and install the grow light on the stand that it came with for now, just for demonstration purposes. And later I'll determine if I'm going to leave it on the stand or if I'm going to attach it to one of my wire grow shelves that I have in another room. I do have an empty shelf that I would like to add some more plants to, and I will be using this light for those plants. First, I'm going to start with the base, and then I'm going to attach one of the adjustable poles to the base. The shelf that I'm going to be using the grow light for is not that tall, so let me see how tall. Oh, the last piece is actually retractable, and you can tighten the height. I mean, you can tighten the pole to adjust the height of your pole. For now, I'm just going to install this one piece of the stand on the base and put the light together, and then I'll determine how many more pieces that I would like to add to get the desired height that I'm looking for. This is the piece that's going to attach to the stand, and the other end is going to attach to the actual grow light. It has a gooseneck mechanism going on here, and there's two different points on this piece that can be adjusted. There's a knob here to tighten this point of the gooseneck, and there's another point here at the top where the grow light is going to be attached to the gooseneck that goes on the stand. So let's see here. I'm going to move the stand over just a little bit so you can see how I'm putting this together. So once you have the gooseneck installed on the stand, you're going to just tighten it up. You're just going to tighten it up with the knob that is on here. And this is what the stand is looking like so far. And now I'm going to attach the grow light. So this is what the back of the grow light is going to look like. And this is what the front of the grow light is going to look like. There's also a good ventilation area on this light to make sure that the heat from the light is, flowing and it doesn't get too hot. This is where you're going to attach the folding part of the stand. Once you insert the ball head from the stand there, you just turn this piece and it will lock it in place. I don't know if you can see the lock and unlock symbol on this piece. So the ball head is made of steel and it's very flexible. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna find a way to put this on my shelf at some point, just to make sure that I free up some space in the area that I plan on using it. So here's what the Metry light is looking like once it's been put together. And here is the back of the light. Again, I would have to tighten the stand here at this bolt to keep it from moving, but for now I just want it to move freely until I get it into the location where I want to set it up. So here is the Metry Grow Light. This is what the control panel looks like for this light. You have your power button. You also have an option to select if you are growing vegetables or flowers. There's an option for the timer, and the next button is to set the brightness, and the last button on here, if you want to have your light hooked up to Wi-Fi so you can control it with the app. So that's what this looks like. I'm just going to go ahead and plug it into the back of the grow light. This is what the connection looks like for the control panel. This is where you're going to go ahead and plug it up to the light so you can actually use it. It needs to be screwed in. So it has a 5-prong connection that you line up with the light, and then you have another piece of the connection that you have to actually screw on to keep it from coming unplugged by accident. So if I was going to use the stand, I would probably just hang it over the back of the stand so that it's not dangling and it's not touching the floor, especially if you have one of those robo vacuums. Or if you're just using a regular vacuum, you don't need anything else extra to pick up off the floor. One thing I'd like to mention about this light is that I wouldn't over tighten any of the pieces that you can screw. The pieces that are holding this light together are plastic, so you don't want to end up accidentally breaking anything. This is what the light looks like if you're going to go ahead and install it on the stand. I'm going to get some of the plants that I want to put on my shelf prepared, and then I'll get everything ready and move over to the area where I'm going to add this grow light. Here's one of the plants that I'm going to be adding to the shelf with the new grow light. This is a philodendron strawberry shake that I found at H-E-B. Can you see the size of these leaves? They are huge. So the plant is not extremely variegated, but I don't even care. I think this plant has potential to push out a little bit more variegation. So here are some of the leaves. And you can see that, They're not that variegated, but I think this plant is beautiful and I am really excited to try and see how it grows for me. It does have a new leaf. So it has a new leaf growing in. When I picked it up from the store, it was stuck in the petiole. So I went ahead and released it. And now I'm trying not to tear it. I was hoping that it would open up a little bit more by now. It has been sitting outside and I think this leaf down here has got a little bit of sun stress, like burnt up. It still has been reaching the 90s here in the Houston area, so oops. But I'm gonna wash it down a little bit, and it is currently in peat moss. I'm gonna put it in a chunky aeroid mix and put her in one of my clear pots. And I think I'm also going to add a moss pole to her because I think she wants to grow. She does have some dried up aerial roots, but I think if she has a moss pole in the right conditions, she'll attach and she'll grow some more aerial roots, right? I don't know. Can you see how she's leaning over in the pot? This girl has a lot going on, but you know, I have to get her out of this peat moss. It looks like she's in 100% peat. Also, I noticed that this plant is not in an outer pot. It's planted directly in this ceramic container with no drainage. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook her up, get her set up in a better situation, and put her in front of the new grow light that I just unboxed for you guys. So this is one of the plants that will be placed in front of the new grow light. So let me go ahead and quickly repot her. So let me go ahead and repot her and get her set up the way I like so she can continue to grow. So I'm back with my final thoughts. Let me tell you what I think overall of the Metry Grow Light. I'm also going to be adding some clips of where I end up placing the light at in my home. I'll just insert those as I go over my final thoughts about this light. So first of all, let me cover the cons. The only con that I have about this light is the aesthetic of the light, okay? The light is a little different than what I'm used to. As you know, I have grown to love my vertical lights, and I do also have some other different types of lights that are not vertical, but these lights are not sitting on the floor. These lights are attached to my shelves above my plants, so they're out of sight, out of mind. They're off the floor. And as you know, I did end up setting up this light on the floor near one of my grow shelves because I didn't know if I really wanted to install this light on my grow shelf, and it's possible that I might end up moving it somewhere else that I might need it, especially with the winter coming up. You know, I might have some plants that I need to move in from outdoors that will need a grow light that might be set up in an unusual location in my home. So it will come in clutch for that for sure. So that's the only con that I have about the light is its overall appearance, right? But it is still a grow light. And I did find that it did a pretty good job at providing sufficient light for one of my plants. So let me go ahead and show you that plant. I did end up putting one plant in front of the grow light. I have a lot of plants that I need to move around right now, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm behind on getting some of my plants moved around at this time. So hopefully over the next few days or the next weekend or so, I'll be able to get a few of them put into more of a final location. So let me go ahead and show you the plant that I put in front of this grow light for testing purposes to see how it performed with a plant that has variegation. So hold on. Here is the plant. I'm gonna try not to make too much noise. This plant does have a saucer at the bottom. This is the plant that I put in front of this Metry Grow Light. As you can see, it's a variegated Burley Marks. Okay, let me give you some history on this plant here. This was the top piece from another plant, of course, a Burley Marks, and I had just noticed that it had toppled over. The bottom half of this plant was originally in my Rutsta cabinet, right? So I walked by one day and I noticed that the top half of it was just flipped over and it had a lot of leaves on it. And I was like, okay, let me go ahead and just quickly pot it up so that, you know, the plant doesn't dry out and I don't lose all of these leaves. So those are the leaves that you see at the bottom of the plant. So you see these leggy leaves here at the bottom. Those are the original leaves from this plant. I did end up After I repotted it, I did end up sitting it somewhere where it could just get some decent light. I think it was actually sitting on this table for a while, but it was not close to any of the lights in this area. So the leaves just were reaching in any direction to get some light, you know, so that's why you see the lower leaves just kind of stuck out like they are. But if you look at the leaves, if you check out the leaves on the top, hopefully you can see that. Let me get out the picture. If you can see, the leaves that are at the top are more, the leaves at the top have a shorter petiole. And I have noticed some of the newer leaves that you can kind of see right here, they have like a lighter color, and it started getting back some of its variegation from sitting in front of this light. So here's another new leaf, if you can see. So the light was doing what it was supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? It was providing a good light source for my plant, enough light to where it was able to push out some variegated leaves. So as far as the pros, I just think that it is a grow light that's going to help your plants grow, right? So let me try to show you one more time. It's hard. I can't see if I'm showing the plant properly, but this is my philodendron Burley Marks variegated. And hopefully you'll be able to see that it does have some newer variegation on the leaves. Let me try to get it up close like this. So can you see that variegation on the leaves, the newer variegation? The lower leaves were growing in at some point after I repotted it and had and had set it on this table pretty far away from a light source. So look at this. So you can see most of the leaves at the bottom are green. It still has some variegation from the plant that it was originally with. You will also notice that the newer, more compact leaves that the plant is starting to push out are more light in color and variegated, like I've already mentioned. But this is my plant that I sat in front of the grow light to see, you know, how well it performs. This plant is in a 7-inch grow pot. This is one of the pots that I sell on my website. Hopefully you can see here all of the healthy roots that this plant is pushing out. And this was just, it wasn't, and this plant wasn't propagated. I just took the cutting, stuck it on this moss pole, and slapped it in soil. And it just started pushing out all these roots. So I'm so happy. This is definitely a win for me. I didn't even know if this plant was going to be successful just by throwing it in a chunky aeroid mix, because you know, well, my chunky aeroid mix, most of the time my chunky aeroid mix doesn't have any like water retention type of ingredients. So there was no cocoa coir in the mix. It's only perlite, cocoa chips, and some horticultural charcoal. If you can see here, some of the area roots are actually growing in the moss in the pole that I made for this plant. So, you know, I think it's doing pretty good considering the journey it's been on. I can't complain at all. I'm more than happy that I still have this plant in my collection, and my collection of the Burley Marks variegated is actually growing substantially. I find myself propagating this plant so much because it gets top heavy very quickly, and the pieces of this plant that I have around my home, when I first started growing this plant, it was not on a moss pole. So I figured I just need to go ahead and just start taking the pieces that I'm getting off the mother plants and just slapping them on a moss pole. And this moss pole does not have moss all the way up to the top. I figure since it's more of a compact growing plant that it doesn't need moss all the way to the top, and I can kind of just wait until it reaches to the point where I need to add some more moss. I have plenty of moss for the pole, and I really don't care to add more moss than I think is needed, because this plant is not a fast grower as far as growing up. It's just a fast grower, period, but it bushes out more than growing up. And it also shoots out a lot of aerial roots. So look at this leaf here. This is a beautiful leaf. That's nice, some nice variegation on this leaf here. And the bottom of this plant that it came from, most of the leaves actually look like this variegated leaf. And something else I'd like to mention about this plant, it's not about the grow light, but The bottom of this plant is still growing in my rustic cabinet, and I noticed that it has done the same thing. The top that has started growing after this just plopped over and popped off. It has started growing again, and the top flipped off and popped off. And that piece right now is sitting in some water. And I just have that piece sitting in some water in my russet because by the time I noticed it, I don't even know how long it was sitting there without any water or attached to the bottom of the plant. Now I have two variegated burley marks on moss poles, and I have two bottom pieces that I'm growing. So this is her. So in closing about this grow light, I would recommend the light if you don't mind the look of the light. You know what I'm saying? If you don't already have grow lights that look a certain type of way or have a certain temperature of light that you prefer, I'd suggest it if you're on the look for a new grow light. If not, there are so many other options that are available these days. There's way more options available than they were when I started my plant collection years ago. So that's really dope. Let me know if it's something that you would be interested in purchasing on your own. And if you are, I will have the link to it in the description of this video. Next, let me go ahead and show you the other plant that I was talking about earlier in my video. This is a strawberry shake that I ended up purchasing from my local grocery store, H-E-B. If you're in Texas, you know what's up. If not, H-E-B is my go-to grocery store, and a lot of people that are in Texas that have one near them, you know, they flock as well. They know what I'm talking about as well. I mean, they have great selections as far as food and everything that you look for when you go grocery shopping. They have a great variety of everything, and a lot of things that they carry in the store are local to Texas. So, you know, that's a plus. Also, another thing that I noticed about H-E-B is that they have started carrying a lot more unique plants in their garden section. So the H-E-B that's closest to me has a very small section of plants next to where they have the flowers. So I have been noticing that they have been getting a lot of plants that used to be very rare in the store. So when you go in there, you're not just seeing the monsteras and some of the more common philodendrons and things like that. I've been noticing strawberry shakes. I recently purchased a variegated domesticum, okay, out of H-E-B. And they're a little pricey for a plant that you can get in a grocery store, but for me, I feel like the price is fair considering how much you would pay for one. Well, considering how much you would pay for the same plant if you were to go to a store that specializes in more rare plants. You know, for example, some of the more unique, smaller plant shops. So let me give you a close-up of some of the things that I've noticed with this plant since I've had her. I just recently lost one of her lower leaves, so that's okay. I think it was the only leaf that was stressing, right? I put her in a aeroid mix with a little bit of coco coir, and I also put her on a clear moss pole. This moss pole is only 18 inches, and this is how much moss that I have in the pole. This plant has not started to attach to the pole, but I also don't keep it as moist as I probably should in order for it to want to attach. But as long as it's alive, I'm okay. So let me show you the first leaf that grew for me after I repotted her. So this was a leaf that was stuck in the petiole that I had loosened up, right? Let me see. Yeah, so that's correct. This is the first leaf that grew in my condition. This leaf was stuck in the petiole when I got her. I was surprised when it came out to see the variegation on it, because if you look at some of the older leaves, there's very low variegation on most of the older leaves. So let me see. Like, this is a good size leaf and it doesn't have that much variegation. It has a little bit, but this is the variegation I got on the first leaf. You can see it's a little wonky. I chalk it up to it being more of a transition leaf coming from the environment it was growing in before I brought it into my home. Also, let's get into this newest leaf that she has pushed out that has me just really shocked, okay? So look at this leaf. I don't even want to touch her. Let me see if I can show her to you. This is the first full leaf that I have grown in my care, okay? Do you see the strawberry, like, not strawberry, it's more of a like marmalade, orangey type of variegation coming in on this newer leaf. Down the middle, you can see some of the strawberry. Hopefully the camera is picking that up pretty good. But man, that is stunning. I love it. It looks so beautiful, and it's almost the same size as some of her older leaves, which tells me she's getting comfortable in my environment to where she's growing back the way she was before. And we know normally the older leaves that this plant has are from the greenhouse. HEB was not growing leaves this big, okay? HEB was not growing leaves this big. So you know it came straight from a greenhouse, got on the shelf in the store, and if they know, like I know, these plants were gonna get swapped up really fast. When I first noticed these strawberry shakes in HEB, there was about maybe 6 or 8 or so in the store. I came back the next week because I wasn't really sure if I wanted to pick one up because I already have a strawberry shake. And when I came back to the grocery store, it was only 2 left. One was really beat up. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to grab me another strawberry shake because I'm not going to tell you how much I paid for the last one I got when I was at PlantCon. I mean, I wouldn't trade it because it's beautiful and has some really nice variegation. But this right here, I'm, looking forward to see how the variegation changes for me. Because, with these variegated plants, you just never know how the leaves are going to grow for you. I do not have this in an enclosed environment. It's just actually, it's sitting on top of a TV console that's very close to my Barina vertical light that I unboxed on my channel a few months back. So I was planning on putting this plant in front of the new grow light that I have. But what ended up happening was I moved it. I took it upstairs into the room that I was going to put it in, and I sat it on the shelf, and I just never went back to move it. I was just watering it on my regular watering schedule, and I never thought to just pick it up and put it in front of the new grow light, and it seemed like it was doing okay. It wasn't dropping any leaves to the point where I felt like it needed to be relocated. But that is my strawberry shake and my experience with getting this plant from my local grocery store, HEB. So I love her down. I can't, I'm ready to see what the variegation is going to continue to look like, because for this to be the first leaf I get, even though it's a little small and kind of wonky because it was stuck in the patio, this color right here is, it gives me hope that she's going to do some great things. I'm going to try to be a better plant mom and try to see if I can keep the moss pole a little bit more moist between waterings, or even when I'm watering, to make sure I moisten up the moss pole. Right now, let me tell you, the way I just go around and water my plants to make sure nobody is suffering, I just pour water into the reservoir of all my plants. That's why I love these saucers. No matter where they are, I know if I water them, the water, it's just pretty much like bottom watering. I just pour it either in the top or depending on what I'm using to water my plants, I water directly into the saucer. I just kind of stick the nozzle in there and fill the water up about to, Jesus Christ. And I fill the water up about to right here. So about between half and 1/4 of the way of water. And within, by the end of the day or so, I don't even really monitor them like that. But by the time, by the end of the day, the water has been soaked up into the soil, and, the plant is watered for the most part until I get around back to them. So yeah, that's something I'm going to go ahead and try to do going forward, is just making sure that I'm watering the moss pole on some of my plants that are not in enclosures. That helps them stay moist much longer between waterings. So yeah, a little wonky plant right here. So that's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, I really appreciate you checking out my video. Please go ahead and check out some of my other videos that I have uploaded on my channel, and leave me a comment of what you think about some of the plants that I've showed in this video. And last, let me know what you think about the grow light that I unboxed and set up in today's video. Please check out my website, plantlivingj.com, if you're interested in purchasing some clear pots for your plants. I do carry some of the sizes that you saw in this video, and I have some other sizes available. If you don't want to leave YouTube to see the pots that I have available on my website, they should all be linked below this video. So I'll see you in the next video.